Looking at all of the developer APIs and SDKs that you have access to when you're building your apps, you definitely have choices. There's a whole set of ArcGIS Maps SDKs that allow you to build web apps and mobile apps, desktop apps, embedded apps, and even apps for game engines. And if that's not enough, or you prefer to use an open source client library, we support some of the most popular open source mapping libraries available for you today. No matter which API you're using, you're always building applications by consuming location services. These location services are coming from ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Enterprise, or ArcGIS Location Platform. And we've added a number of enhancements and new services over the last 12 months. With geocoding, we now do batch geocoding of millions of addresses within a very efficient asynchronous way. We've got drill down, where you can take perhaps what you might think of as one address, like a tower block, but you can actually drill down into that tower block and you can extract all of the addresses from it. With routing, we've got last mile delivery and snap to roads, as well as numerous performance improvements. There's a brand new elevation service that gives you worldwide elevation data at a simple API call. With Basemaps, we've made a number of improvements. We're now moving on to the open Basemaps, away from OSM, onto the Overture Foundation. We've got static basemap tiles. These are raster PNG representations of vector tiles when you don't want to or can't load a vector tile rendering engine into your client. We've got session-based pricing for Location Platform, where you pay for one session and you can consume as many tiles as you like in that session. And most recently, we've been working on a new service called the Static Map Service. This is all about embeddable map images, where you can make a call to the service with an area that you're interested in the map style. You could give some graphics to overlay on top of it, and the service will create that map image and return it to you. You could embed it in a web page, no JavaScript library or dynamic page loading required, or you could put it into another application or even in an email. With open source, we support the 4 most common open source mapping libraries: OpenLayers, Leaflet, MapLibre, and Cesium.js. And increasingly, we're putting a lot of effort into building plugins to these libraries that make it even easier to use your open source mapping skills, but with the full power of the services coming from ArcGIS. To show us what we've been doing in the open source world, I'd like to pass it over to Anita.
Thanks, Euan. Many developers, including myself, like to build lightweight, location-based applications that use an open-source mapping library. This app, for instance, uses MapLibre GLJS and ArcGIS location services. To make it easier to access location services, we have ArcGIS REST.js, an open-source library designed to work well with client-side mapping APIs, including MapLibre. It provides wrapper classes for ArcGIS services, making them easier to integrate within your application. We also have MapLibre ArcGIS, an open-source plugin designed to efficiently display basemap styles, feature layers, and vector tile layers. In this app, I use both. I use the MapLibre ArcGIS plugin to display the basemap style, and I use ArcGIS REST.js to find hotels within the map extent and to return their details. In the code, we can see that I'm using the basemap style class provided by the plugin to set the ArcGIS navigation style. With REST.js, I'm using the find places within extent operation to find those hotels before using the get place details operation to return attributes such as the street address. Building lightweight applications is just one way you can use open source technologies. But we know that some of you are also using open source technologies to build GIS applications that require that your authoritative content hosted in ArcGIS be pulled into this application as for instance, a feature service. Though typically, if you're using a library such as MapLibre, you have to access features from a feature layer as GeoJSON. In this application, I try to display features from a building footprints feature layer, but due to the scalability of GeoJSON, the performance is slow, and I'm limited by the amount of features I can display on the map. These limitations make it hard for me to visualize my data effectively. Luckily, the MapLibre ArcGIS plugin solves these problems for me. Its feature layer class optimizes the way in which features are accessed and displayed. So let's take a look. In the Network tab, we can see that these features are being retrieved as PBF tiles. This means that they're being loaded dynamically, on demand, thereby significantly improving the performance of my application, as well as the way in which they're displayed. Now that I'm able to visualize all of my data, I can take advantage of the inherent capabilities of MapLibre that I'm familiar with, such as extruding these features based on their building heights, as well as styling them further based on other attributes, such as the construction year. To display these features is simple. With the plugin, I use the feature layer class, set my portal item ID, and then add the layer to the map. We'll continue to enhance the capabilities of ArcGIS REST.js and the MapLibre ArcGIS plugin. We'll also continue to identify the opportunities to help you as open source developers leverage our services within your preferred mapping APIs. Back to you, Euan.
Thank you, Anita.